Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 1 VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring the team that Luca Paz used to win the Liverpool Regional Championships, which was the very first major VGC regionals in Scarlet and Violet over in Europe. In addition, it's the last Series 1 VGC major, and this team feels so fitting because it combines a lot of pieces that were popular right from day one, including Murkrow, Golden-Go, as well as Dondozo plus Tatsugiri, but it also has a very strong Assault Vest Dragonite set, and kind of the glue that I feel like completes the entire team is Pawmot. Now, Pawmot's a really interesting Pokemon in VGC. You know, you can use it for Revival Blessing, which is obviously an incredible move that lets you heal up one of your fainted Pokemon, but it's also actually a really strong attacker. It has base 115 attack and gets access to some incredible attacks in Double Shock and Close Combat, and it's also just one of the fastest Fake Out users you can have in the game. So I think that this team really utilizes Pawmot in an incredible way. Pawmot's not exactly the most popular Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet Series 1 VGC, but it did finish second at the San Diego Regional Championships, and I always felt like it was kind of slept on, and so it's exciting to see a team take it all the way to first place. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team and also talk about the tournament a little bit, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below. And thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out a ton. Also, by the way, the second game today is legitimately one of the most wild games I've had in all of Scarlet and Violet VGC, so if you're only looking to watch one game in particular, I would highly recommend that, but as always, I think all the games are pretty fun. So thanks for joining me, and let's dive into things. So first of all, just some quick context about the tournament. Luca Paz, like I mentioned, was the winner, and there were almost 500 players competing in Liverpool. It took place towards the end of January, and it had 9 Swiss rounds with the top 32 single elimination bracket with open team sheets. Like I mentioned, Pawmot was the winning Pokemon on the winning team here, but what's interesting is if you look at the top 8 teams, like, there's not that much more Pawmot, right? You see another one here in 6th place, but that's basically it. By the way, this is linked down in the description below if you want to follow along as well, and it just shows all the top 32 teams. So what's interesting is that Pawmot then becomes a lot more represented past the top 16. Like, in the top 16, there's another one at 14th place here, but overall not that common. But from 17 to 32, there were a lot of other players that used it, right? Pawmot with Dondozo, with Meowscarada as well. Pawmot with kind of a rain-oriented team, Pawmot with rain. So, like, in the end, I felt like Pawmot was really centered around these two primary cores of rain plus the Dondozo Tatsugiri. I also think, like, Dragonite is a really key piece to this team, and if you look at most of the other Dondozo Tatsugiri teams, right, they have one of Pawmot or the Dragonite, but not both. The one other really interesting thing here is that Murkrow actually exists on this team. Murkrow actually completely fell off, it felt like, after San Diego Regionals in terms of in-person play. A lot of players were using it, but it fell off, I would say, in terms of, like, going all the way to, like, the end, right? And so, at San Diego Regionals, out of the top 32 teams, I think there were only 2 Murkrows total. And what's interesting is if you look at Murkrow in this tournament, right, like, there's one more here in top 8. From 9 through 16, there aren't really any other Murkrows. And so, Murkrow actually made a huge comeback on this team in particular. So, it was one of the most common Pokemon in Series 1 VGC, and an online player is still going to run into it very commonly. But for best 2 of 3 in-person VGC, it actually felt like its popularity had really fallen off in terms of being able to make it very far in a tournament. But this team combined Murkrow with Dondozo Tatsugiri, which in itself, by the way, actually I wouldn't say is like the most common synergy in Series 1 VGC, and then also with this unique Dragonite set and a Pawmot to finish things off. So yeah, always fun to kind of just look at tournaments, but let's dive into the team now. Diving into the team, the first Pokemon to talk about, of course, has to be Pawmot. Now, Pawmot has a really great base speed with base 105 and a really nice base attack with 115. The main idea with Pawmot, of course, is to, 1, apply early pressure with Fake Out. For example, you can lead things like Pawmot Golden-Go, Pawmot Tatsugiri, and Pawmot Dragonite and immediately go for Fake Out plus a lot of damage with all of these Pokemon. In addition, you have Revival Blessing, and so what's interesting is often one of your Pokemon will go down, you'll bring out Pawmot and just revive it immediately, and so it makes it really hard to play against this Pokemon because your opponents will often try to prioritize knocking out Pawmot, so you can't go for Revival Blessing later on in the battle. But in doing so, it means that they're going to often be ignoring your attackers, right? And imagine just ignoring a Choice Specs Golden-Go that's using Make It Rain. That can be really difficult for your opponent. And so, yeah. This is just really strong, and you also have Double Shock plus Close Combat. Now, both of these attacks are so strong, right? Double Shock is base 120 power, 100% accuracy. Close Combat is also the same. And so, one thing that I think is really nice about this Pawmot is that it actually really can break through a lot of Pokemon very, very quickly, in addition to combining it with some of these partner Pokemon that I mentioned earlier. One of my favorite leads with this team is actually Pawmot plus Tatsugiri, and basically what you can do with this is your opponents, when they see this, they're immediately going to be thinking, oh my gosh, like I have to worry about Dondozo switching in. But Pawmot plus Tatsugiri allows you to just go for like Fake Out plus, for example, Draco Meteor or Muddy Water immediately. I feel like a lot of people just don't really respect Tatsugiri in terms of a damage dealer, but this thing is base 120 special attack. It's actually really solid, and with Choice Scarf, it actually outspeeds so many things as well, right? And so the idea is that with Pawmot plus Tatsugiri, it doesn't look very threatening when you lead it, but you can actually like snowball the game fairly quickly. Pick up one quick KO, imagine going for like Fake Out plus Draco, knock something out, turn 2, switch Pawmot into Dondozo and go from there. I've also had games where I can just use Tatsugiri, Icy Wind, drop something speed, and then Pawmot just finishes it off with a double shocker or close combat, right? For things that outspeed Pawmot. And so in my opinion, like, people see Pawmot often just as a revival blessing user, but you actually really should see this as an offensive user. And in like the 10 practice games I played with the Pawmot, I almost was always attacking with it and doing very significant damage with it, but I wasn't always getting revival blessing off, right? Now, that doesn't mean revival blessing isn't important on this team. Of course, it allows you to heal back one of your Pokemon, especially Dondozo and Tatsugiri, right? Like, healing back one of those pieces so that you can combine again is really big, but you're not always going to be able to guarantee that. But that being said, this is an incredible lead option, and it's really nice with Tatsugiri, Golden Go, and Dragonite. Tatsugiri here is Choice Scarf. The one thing I'll call out is that it has Sleep Talk, and so Sleep Talk allows you to, you know, get put to sleep by something like Amoonguss and still go for attacks, which I think is a pretty interesting kind of anti-Amoonguss answer. And of course, Tatsugiri here is meant to combine with Dondozo. This is the droopy form, so it's meant to give you attack boosts and just kind of maximize Dondozo's damage output. This Dondozo is Jolly with 212 speed EVs, and so it allows you to outspeed max speed Mousehold, which is actually really important because otherwise Mousehold could potentially encore you, which can be really annoying. Otherwise, it's the kind of classic Wave Crash substitute order upset with Dragon Terra and Leftovers. Finally, to round out the team, you've got Choice Specs Golden Go. It's modest max speed with a good distribution of bulk here. And you've got, you know, classic Make Your Rain, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Power Gem with Steel Terra. Of course, the idea here is often to just go for the Steel Terra and spread Make It Rain. You've got Murkrow here. I think Murkrow is actually the Pokemon I've probably used the least in my experience playing with the team in Best of 1 ladder, but the main reason I think you want Murkrow is for the opposing Dondozo mirror, because otherwise it's a complete nightmare to face against opposing Dondozos, and so against opposing Dondozo teams in particular, of course, you're using it for Haze, but this is always just a flexible Pokemon, right? And you don't always have to bring both Dondozo and Tatsugiri, and like Murkrow, Golden Go, Pawmot plus a fourth, for example, can be a strong combo, or Murkrow, Golden Go with Dondozo and Tatsugiri, for example. Ghost Terror exists here mainly to avoid pesky fake outs that are randomly going to come out on turn 1 and guarantee you Tailwind, for example. Finally, you've got Flying Terra Blast Dragonite. I feel like I've used so many different Dragonites at this point on the channel, and this should just be level 50. But yeah, Dragonite is such an interesting Pokemon because it gets access to actually so many strong moves. The idea behind the Flying plus Terra Blast is that this is really good into a lot of Pokemon in the format. You think about flying coverage, and you can really crush things like Amoonguss and Annihilate, for example. Grass Terra is also fairly popular, and so being able to cover for those random Terras I think is really nice. You also have Low Kick, because otherwise, you know, I feel like King Gambit was a Pokemon that picked up a lot of popularity at a high level, especially after San Diego Regionals. Having a way to just threaten for a one-hit knockout is really nice. And you also have Stomping Tantrum, which gives you unique coverage. So a lot of these moves I would say you actually generally don't see on Dragonite sets. Stomping Tantrum is really nice because it allows you to hit like Golden Go, for example, and just steel types in general. Also allows you to get super effective damage into, say, fire type Pokemon. And so, yeah, I really like the Flying Terra plus Terra Blast here. This is one combo that I used a lot while practicing with the team, and I think that a lot of people just like wouldn't run this, right? Because they'd run normal Terra with like extreme speed, but Flying Terra with Terra Blast allows you to just have one of the strongest flying type attacks that really exists like in the game, basically. So yeah, so you know, this is, I would say, first and foremost, like a Dondozo Tatsugiri team. I'm always constantly thinking, okay, how do I enable Dondozo Tatsugiri? But I'm also thinking, how can I utilize Pawmot for early pressure to like distribute a lot of damage? And one of my favorite things about this team is that like Pawmot Tatsugiri is like such a deceptively weak duel that ends up being so incredible. And I already talked a little bit about that earlier. But I've had games where it's like, yeah, Pawmot Tatsugiri, I sacrifice Tatsugiri to get a knockout. Pawmot just revives Tatsugiri the next turn. I have Dondozo on the field, protect Dondozo. Pawmot down goes down, and then I've enabled Dondozo plus Tatsugiri. So you can pick up knockouts so quickly with this team, and yeah, it can just snowball very quickly. But let's talk about some weaknesses. So when talking about weaknesses, let's just start off with Dondozo. You know, we've talked about Dondozo so much for the last couple of months, but this is still a really strong Pokemon, and I think the main thing to highlight is that things that beat Dondozo can be really good, but it's all about how you position it, because the best Dondozo players will not let you get it for free, right? And so I'm talking about things like Haze. Haze is one of the natural answers to Dondozo. Clear Smog is also an answer. So, you know, Murkrow with Haze, Palafin with Haze, Amoonguss with Clear Smog, for example. That's one way you can deal with it. Intimidate's really coming back into the format, and so things like Salamence and Tauros have been used, for example. I think a good Terra on something that already gives Dondozo defensive trouble can be annoying, right? Especially because it only has Wave Crash and Order Up. So I think about like strong Fairy type Pokemon. Azumarill in particular is really annoying, especially because Azumarill gets Perish Song. That's one of the other ways that you can deal with Dondozo. And I've also seen people who kind of like take advantage of just using super effective or really powerful attacks into Dondozo, whether it be Life Orb, Draco Meteor. That's really powerful thanks to Unaware. That means the opposing, you know, Pokemon using Draco Meteor, those special attack drops don't count when it's fighting against Dondozo, so they can use that to their advantage. If you watch the San Diego Regional Finals, one thing that Chisok Lee, the winner, did against Dondozo was like bait out the Dragon Terra on Dondozo, then use a defensive Terra on his Baxcalibur, and then use Icicle Spear to just slowly KO the Dondozo. So that's one other cool counterplay. Of course, burning it is valuable, putting it to sleep is valuable, but those are a little bit easier said than none, especially because the Dondozo here does have Substitute. But yeah, there are plenty of ways to deal with this Pokemon, but once again, it's all about how you position it, because basically what Dondozo players want to do is find the right position for Dondozo where you have no counterplay anymore, and that might be knocking out your Murkrow early on or knocking out your threats to this Pokemon early on, so just keep that in mind. I think Pawmot's the other thing I really want to highlight on this team, because Revival Blessing is really good, right? And often you'll knock out a Pokemon, but then Pawmot with Space Speed will just revive it because it has Focus Sash as well. So having ways to quickly knock out Pawmot can be really valuable. Pokemon that are faster than Pawmot, for example, such as Choice Scarf Pokemon or Meowscarada, can be valuable. I think Pokemon that let Fake Out generally struggles against can be annoying, because what Pawmot really likes to do is click Fake Out when it's led, but let's say you have a lot of Fake Out immune Pokemon, Pawmot then, you know, just doesn't have it as an option. So consider Pokemon that are like Ghost-type Pokemon, for example. Golden Go is a great example. NDD is something that you could utilize as well to set up that Psychic terrain, and Inner Focus, for example, Dragonite, is also something that can just ignore that Fake Out. This team also just doesn't have Protect on 5 of the 6 Pokemon, so you can potentially utilize that to your advantage. And now that this team is public, obviously, it will be well known across the ladder as well. That being said, this team won an open team sheet format, right? Meaning that all of its opponents still saw the moves, and the team was still able to come out on top. So yeah, just because I'm kind of highlighting this doesn't mean that you can utilize it easily, but they are important points, I would say, to just generally talk about. Golden Go here is fairly speedy, but it's modest rather than timid, and so you can potentially utilize that to your advantage, especially if you have your own Golden Go, for example. And yeah, I think overall, this team is still heavily centered around Dondozo Tatsugiri, but it has so much flexibility, and so be a little bit careful about tunnel visioning too hard onto just beating this duo, because the rest of the team is also really significant in terms of damage output. So yeah, that's it. Let's get into these battles. Okay, we got Pelipper, Palafin, Salamence, Magnezone, Volcarona, and Golden Go. Couple of immediate impressions here. Things to watch out for. Grass Terra, Volcarona, or Will-O-Wisp / Flame Body. Analytic, Magnezone with just electric type attacks. Steel, Terra, Tail, and Salamence, and then Haze, Palafin as well. I like Pawmot a lot here. I think if you look at from my opponent's end, like Golden Go can be quite good. Dragonite's really interesting here because we can Flying Terra Blast into most things. So I like that lead, actually. Pawmot, Dragonite with Tatsugiri, Dondozo in the back. I think I could bring Murkrow out in this one, but I don't think Tailwind is actually that necessary. And the thing is, when you bring out Murkrow, you essentially have to give up one really strong Pokemon, and all the Pokemon on this team deal pretty good damage. I think Pawmot Tatsugiri was actually a pretty acceptable lead here as well. So let's see what they opt for. Palafin plus Dragonite, okay. Wouldn't be surprised if Dragonite considers going for a Terra here. Palafin might just hard switch. Could just flip turn here as well. I mean, I do expect this to have Haze, honestly. We don't have a Dragon type attack here, unfortunately, but maybe we can force a Terra out of their end. Like, turn 1, I'm actually thinking Fake Out plus Extreme Speed onto Palafin. Yep, that hard switches. Fine by me. I would love to see a Salamence like Steel Terra here. Yeah, Pelipper just switches in. I'm okay with that because I can like double shock the Pelipper potentially. Ah, it's a double switch actually. Okay. I'm very okay with that then. Magnezone. Hey, we have Stomping Tantrum Dragonite here. So, Fake Out breaks Sturdy. Extreme Speed breaks a potential Focus Sash. I think my big question here now is whether or not the Pelipper considers like a Ground Terra. But I am definitely clicking Stomping Tantrum onto that. I'm going to double shock. Let's see if you have it. I would expect them to. But I don't mind forcing a Terra out of Pelipper here. That also works. Like, whatever's coming in is eating up a double shock. And it's just Salamence. I guess I'll be at -2, so it won't do that much damage, but I'll still take it. Especially Inner Focus. Inner Focus is putting in so much work right now. And they don't Terra, so I'm going to get this Stomping Tantrum off into the Magnezone slot. Now, one thing I have to worry about is that, like, this next turn now, my opponent gets the free switch into Palafin, which is kind of scary, but... Ooh, Magnezone survives! What? Okay, I would have never expected Magnezone to survive that. That is really impressive. Wow. How much bulk do you need to survive? Palafin comes out now, right? Mm-hmm. I'm at -2. It's a good opportunity for them to, like, Tailwind now. I think I'm down to switch into Tatsugiri. Actually, no. Dondozo. And Extreme Speed. Wow, that was a big survival. I am shocked. I'm really curious about what the damage roll on that was. The interesting thing about Pawmot is that, like, this is actually a really solid offensive option. And the other thing is that, like, Dondozo does not necessarily need the Tatsugiri combo to go off in this game. So here's a Terra from their end. Is it Water Terra, Palafin, Steel Terra, Salamence? Grass Terra, Palafin's a thing as well. Yep. Okay. And that's fine for now, but it makes sense against the Pawmot. It's great damage from Extreme Speed, though. I'll take that. Oh, and they actually Jet Punch. Holy cow, that did so much, though. That was a crit. That explains why. Okay. And they committed Draco, so you're at -2 now. Okay. I don't mind that, right? It's a free switch into Tatsugiri now. It's a free switch into Tatsugiri, but I could also just go out into Pawmot. If I go into Tatsugiri, where does the game go from there? I mean, I can just start clicking order up onto everything, right? The only question is whether or not they have haze. If I go into Pawmot, I pressure with close combat, which honestly I kind of like more right now. I guess the main thing though is that they could Draco Meteor Dondozo. Yeah, that's actually pretty concerning. I'm going to bring out Tatsugiri. So I think the debate right now is... do I think they're going to switch Salamence out into Pelipper, for example, right? Because it's pretty easy to, like, Terra and then just order up into that slot. I guess the other debate is whether or not I need to Terra right now. I'm just... what are the odds this says Terra Blast, you know? Oh, but if I Terra, then I'm weak to Draco Meteor. I'm just going to click regular order up right now. Okay, they don't switch, so I'll get the knockout onto Salamence. That works for me. Get an attack boost. Yeah, they do have haze. That's fine, though, like I was saying. Because regular Dondozo Wave Crash does a ton of damage into their... into them, yeah. Whereas, like, Draco Meteor with Unaware there was actually really scary onto me, in my opinion. So they bring Pelipper out. Okay. I guess the main downside is now they can Hurricane me. I think I want to protect for recovery here. Stall to turn a rain. Because we have the Pawmot in the back, which can easily finish off both Pelipper as well as Magnezone. Oh, they actually have Terra Blast. Oh. Well, that was one of the things I was wondering about. So it's Protectless. Jet Punch, Wave Crash, Terra Blast, Protect. Oh, I think it's got to be a Terra here then. On Dozo. Into Wave Crash. Yeah. If I had just gone Wave Crash onto them earlier, would I have won this game? Maybe, because then even if your Draco KOs my Dondozo, it's still not that bad. Nicely done. They Jet Punch this time around rather than Terra Blasting. And Hurricane. Doesn't KO though. Good. Oh, Confusion is scary. Okay. Nice. Okay. That's good. Oh. It was close, but not enough for a KO. I didn't faint from that? Whoa. I actually wanted to faint. That's kind of awkward. 2 turns of Tailwind, 2 turns of Rain. I'm gonna protect here. Hitting myself in Confusion there actually probably would have lost me the game. Hurricane being able to confuse is so scary. This is going to be such a crazy finish. I do have the ability to potentially Revival Blessing, but I don't know if that's even worth it in this endgame. I mean, they're just going to Jet Punch and Hurricane again here, right? Tatsugiri should survive a Hurricane, and then both Tailwind and Rain stall out, which is exactly what we need. Yeah, I mean, I'll just Wave Crash here. Okay, Jet Punch finishes off Dondozo. We just are really hoping for Hurricane to not one-shot Tatsugiri. Mainly just, yeah, looking for no crit. No crit or Confusion. Perfect. And we have actually successfully stalled out Rain and Tailwind. I think the only scary thing right now is that I can miss with the Tatsugiri. You can Jet Punch me. You've already Terra'd as well. Like, basically, I want a double shock here into Icy Wind. The only problem is 5%. Oh, actually, they could have Wide Guard as well. Do I want to risk it on the 10% chance I miss? I could target the other way around, but I'm not sure Draco KO's Pelipper. That's fine. Okay. What a game, though. This has been really intense. Magnezone comes out. Yeah, that is not enough for a KO. Okay, that should win us the game. Draco misses. Or, sorry. Draco does not miss. A miss would have been very bad there. This is a nice thing. I think one reason why I really liked Pawmot as a metagame call is because there were so many Pelipper teams rising into both San Diego and Liverpool regionals, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Pawmot plus Dondozo Tatsugiri made the finals of both tournaments, right? Like, Pawmot's incredibly offensively into a lot of those Dondozo teams. Sorry, not Dondozo, Pelipper teams. Especially because not all Pelippers run Focus Sash, right? A lot of them actually were running things like Citrus Berry or Damp Rock, and so Pawmot being able to potentially threaten that with the one-hit knockout immediately is really sweet. So Pelipper comes back out. And we can just go for Double Shock once again. I could Revival Blessing here, but Double Shock should just win the game because they've already committed their Terra. Yeah. Whew, that was a really intense one. I think I was looking for an angle to go for Revival Blessing throughout the course of this battle, but in the end, it made more sense to just go on the offensive with Pawmot. But they had a really interesting Palafin, right? It was Grass Terra with Haze as well as Terra Blast, and so normally I would expect the Haze, but definitely not the Terra Blast as well, because Palafin generally likes running Protect. So yeah. That was really close. I think we had a pretty big early lead, and I think them bringing Magnezone benefited me, but Magnezone makes a lot of sense because of how it matches up into things like Tatsugiri, Dondozo, even Golden Goal to an extent. I really am shocked it survived Stomping Tantrum, but yeah, the main thing was trying to figure out when to utilize Dondozo and Tatsugiri, and you can see even with my opponent getting Haze off in this game, we were in okay shape. The confusion was really scary, though, because I think if we hit ourselves in confusion, like, you know, either of the turns in that end game, one I was trying to stall out Tailwind, then maybe Tatsugiri just faints. I don't think Pawmot can pull off like the 1v3, for example. So yeah, but what a game there. Oh, they have their own Dondozo and Tatsugiri. So I definitely want to bring Murkrow. I almost wonder if I even go with Dondozo Giri on our end. It's pretty good. They do have Glamora with Toxic Spikes, which concerns me. Pawmot's a solid lead. I don't think I love Dragonite here. My problem is if I go like Pawmot Golden Go, I also have Dondozo Tatsugiri, you know? It's kind of weird. But if I guess it could be like Murkrow Golden Go lead. If I'm my opponent, though, I'm not leading Dondozo Tatsugiri. What would I go with? Glamora is interesting. Glamora Garchomp, especially if you were like Flying Terra. What if I just lead Tatsugiri? Icy Wind and Draco is actually really solid here. Oh, you know what? I see the vision. Okay. Tatsugiri, Pawmot, Murkrow, Dondozo. Let's try that out. I think what's interesting here is because I have Pawmot, we have some answers into Glamora. And even if my Dondozo goes down once, I can heal it back with Revival Blessing. I do really feel the necessity to bring Murkrow in this one, given that they have Dondozo Tatsugiri. Glamora Garchomp. Okay. This is really interesting right from turn 1. Man, I almost want to just switch in Dondozo immediately. I also have Icy Wind. Just, I could see this, like, protecting. I'm actually going to click Fake Out Draco here. Okay, they just protect. I lose my Focus Sash as a result of this. It's a smart double protect. If you have it, you should go for it, right? Okay. It's okay for now. It means I can double up onto your Garchomp. I'm pretty okay with that play. The main thing is, I don't know if they have Dondozo Tatsugiri in the back, and if I can accelerate the battle to the point where I get to confirm it, that's pretty good. I also was worried about it being potential Choice Specs Glamora on turn 1. It would be my dream if they just Terra Garchomp here and it still went down, because they don't expect me to, like, close combat it. I don't know. I expect, what, Focus Sash on Glamora here? What would have been my best lead into this? It's tough, right? Golden Go's decent. Like, Murkrow Golden Go could work because I can just Tailwind, Terra, make it rain. But my problem is if they're Focus Sash. Oh, okay. I don't mind seeing that. What's the item on it, then? And they bring out Dozo. Okay. And they are going to Terra Garchomp. But into what? Imagine if they go steal right now. Let's see. Wait, please tell me I actually KO though. Let's see. It's gotta KO. It's gotta. Come on, Pawmot, show me why we got you on the team. That is why I went Draco plus close combat onto it, though, right? Like, what terror are you gonna go for that can actually survive both of those, knowing that you're not Assault Vest Garchomp? Nice try. I should be in really good shape now, especially given that Dondozo has now hit the field and they've committed their Terra. And if they bring out the Murkrow, or Tatsugiri, I can just Murkrow it. Yeah, Glamora comes back out. Makes sense. I don't know. I kind of want to just go into my Dondozo immediately. The thing is, I really don't want to play the Dondozo Mirror. If I were them, I would protect Glamora right now and then Wave Crash into Pawmot. So I'm down to switch Tatsugiri out into Dondozo. I actually still have to be very careful about how I approach this, in my opinion. I think I'm actually down to double switch right now. I think I should have contemplated a double up onto Glamora there as well. Because I think there's a chance Glamora just goes on the offensive right now, given that my opponent's behind in the match. But I could also easily see them clicking Spiky Shield. Yeah, they attacked with it. Okay. Mortal Spin. Okay. Yeah, that's a little annoying. That's definitely a little annoying, but it's okay. I want to conserve Murkrow. I think it's really important to conserve it. And we're looking for a KO to force them to, that was a nice Mortal Spin. Yeah, see, like, the double up play I was talking about would have won me the game, I think, immediately. Wave Crash. Ooh, I think it's actually worth considering a Terra here so that I'm not weak to Glamora. Does Terra Dragon here do anything for me? Not really. Terra Water doesn't do anything for me. Terra Electric doesn't do much for me. It gives me an increase in damage output. Yeah, I'm going to Tailwind. I don't know. The fact they switched out Glamora earlier like just makes me feel like they didn't have Focus Sash, but that would be so weird to me. I should have played a little bit more aggressive with Pawmot and Tatsu. Nice. Glamora doesn't protect, though. Okay, so I get Tailwind up. They could double up onto Murkrow for a KO right now. So, Wave Crash, you are Focus Sashed. Okay. There's Toxic Spikes. And Recoil. Yeah, there's Power Gem, which will survive. Body Press, but the Ghost Terra saves me. If they had actually just clicked like Wave Crash there, I would have been done for. Whoa. Did not expect to see that. Okay. My health is slowly ticking away though. That Mortal Spin earlier, Mortal Reminder, was really good from their end. I think I might actually switch into Tatsugiri here though. I have to sequence this actually like in a properly, especially with them having Toxic. Like this is actually a huge pain. Maybe I did need to bring Golden Go. I don't know. Anyway, I can't believe the Ghost Terra saved me. It's hilarious. Foul play from this is also valuable later on in the battle. Now, if you're them, you expect probably Spiky Shield, right? I want to force them to click it, though. Like, essentially, I just need to let them get Dondozo and Tatsugiri out on the field, because once that happens... I also don't know if I needed actually Tailwind there that last turn. But once that happens, I can just bring out Murkrow and finally haze away the boosts. But yeah, this is actually really difficult because of the Toxic. Let's see. We'll get our boosts. I have the speed boost. Should be a protect. Or Spiky Shield, yeah. But the reason I'm willing to play like this is because I know I have Pawmot in the back, right? Also, Pawmot can just double shock into their Dondozo. They order up into Murkrow. Nice. So order up Body Press so far is what we've seen. Yeah, I mean, now the interesting thing is, do you just finally switch out Glimmora, right? One would think so. I'm still getting order up damage for free here. I mean, how could you not switch here, right? It's just awkward, I guess, because, yeah. Like, do I bother making the read? Because it makes sense for them to switch and then just order up into Dondozo. I actually think getting damage onto Dondozo is pretty significant here, and they do switch. And the reason why I think it's significant is because Pawmot can just double shock for a KO, right? Yeah. Gosh, this is a crazy game. I think this game has highlighted how good Glimmora is. Like, I KO'd Guard. I should have just doubled up on a Glimmora. As they protect, okay. Yeah, because them getting that double poison was really brutal for me. And if I had doubled up onto it... Well, if I double up onto it and it protects, then the Dondozo had the opportunity to get an attack onto something, right? So, it's tricky. It's tricky. Body Press, Protect, Order Up from Dondozo. Still haven't seen the last one. We're just going to order up. I just have no idea how much double shock does, but they're probably a plus defense nature. Yeah, at this point I need my Dondozo to faint. This is like just the awkward thing about Dondozo mirrors in the format, but I think this Focus Sash Glimmora was a game changer. Especially with that one move. Tailwind Peter's out. So sad having all of those increased stages of attack and getting nowhere with it. Oh, I should actually consider substituting so I can get a free switch in sooner. Right? It's crazy how this one turn of not doubling up onto Glimmora has resulted in this crazy, crazy scenario. Yeah, this like defensive Dondozo is actually so hard to break through. I think if I were to replay this game, how in the world do I bring Golden Go though? Like, I think Glimmora just actually skews this matchup so well into my opponent's favor. Oh, also, yeah, it's plus defense. I just realized that. Which makes sense with Body Press. This is very impressive. Golden Goal to walled it, yeah. Yeah, I don't think a double shock is KOing. I'll be able to finally haze, but at what cost? Me surviving is just also so, like, non-ideal here. Yeah, I mean, they're just going to protect. So I'll finally be able to bring out Murkrow, to which I'll be able to haze Dondozo. So I'll go haze into Draco Meteor. Man, this is going to be a remarkably close finish. But I think with the poison damage stacking up as quickly as it is not favoring me. This is as effective as like a poison kind of stall-oriented strategy in VGC is, so nicely done by my opponent. I think subbing on Dondozo earlier would have been better for me just to accelerate this a little bit, so I would have more health on Tatsugiri. Because essentially this scenario was always going to happen, right? So bring out Murkrow here. Okay. So let's Haze. And Draco Meteor. And then I have Pawmot. Can I close out the game with Pawmot like Murkrow, for example? I don't know, because their Tatsugiri as an offensive option concerns me greatly. Now, I can use Pawmot to revive something. Which can be helpful. But I need to use Pawmot to double shock their Dondozo. Here's Haze plus Draco. It's really good damage. Okay, nice. They order up into Tatsugiri. Okay. Yeah, that works. I bring out Pawmot. 51 down to 31, so I can take 2 more turns of poison. This is why, yeah, like, poison has become a thing in VGC. And that's why Glamora picked up usage going into San Diego Regionals. How wild. You should expect this to protect, right? Ooh, interesting debate. Do I read you into protecting and thus Revival Blessing right now? Because my other play is to just double shock attack. And also, who do I revive? I think it's Tatsugiri. I'm going to expect them to protect here. Nice. Okay, that was actually a really important turn. Dude, this game is crazy. What is going on right now? Oh, it's a no defense boost. Wait, I have to think really hard about who to revive here. I think it's Tatsugiri. Man, Dondozo has so much more HP to work with. It has leftovers, and it has order up. I'm just thinking we have the speed advantage with Tatsugiri, allowing me to Draco Meteor them. I'm worried about them just doing Draco Meteor onto my Dondozo and doing too much damage. I picked Dondozo. It has more HP. But I'm actually not sure that was the correct decision. This turn is good, though, because now I get to Tailwind with Murkrow and KO Dondozo, and I get a free switch into my Dondozo. This is legitimately one of the most wild battles I've had in Series 1 VGC. So now we... Yeah, the other debate is, do I actually need Tailwind? Because I can foul play for chip damage, but I think Tailwind is essential if it's Scarf Tatsugiri in the back. So Tailwind plus Double Shock here. I should have probably just Revival Blessing Tatsu. Because I would have just been able to Draco Meteor their Tatsu and then win the game with, like, close combat. I was just like, I have more HP to work with this way. This is one of the craziest battles I've had. Okay. But, like, Dondozo just has so much HP, right? So Murkrow faints now. I also have no idea what kind of item is on Tatsugiri. But I think if I had just... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be Sashgiri as well, right? Poison is slowly ticking down. It's Glamora and Tatsugiri on their end now. Okay. 3 minutes. Ooh, I gotta make sure I don't lose the timer as well. I want to double up onto this. I don't know if Order Up just KOs by itself. They didn't protect either Pokemon. That's a one-hit KO? Without a crit? Pawmot, you are the greatest Pokemon ever. Of all time. What? Alright. Well, that was not how I was expecting to win the battle. But okay. What I was worried about in that situation was, like, Lamora didn't end up protecting, and so if Tatsugiri was still faster than Dondozo, if it had, like, Choice Scarf, then it could have been able to Draco Meteor, like Dondozo, for example, and then Lamora could just Power Gem to KO Pawmot. Well, I'm actually not... I don't know if Power Gem would have KO'd, because we resist it, right? I don't know. That okay. What the heck? I'm gonna... I mean, we're I'm literally speechless. That was so much harder than it needed to be. I think the main thing is I had the chance to just double up onto that Glamora, but I really thought they were going to Spiky Shield that one turn way earlier on in the battle, and then they had the Mortal Reminder, or whatever that move was, which I've actually just not really seen before, and they had the Focus Sash as well. It made my life so much more difficult, but yeah, we called the endgame correctly. I finally got the haze off, used Pawmot to KO Dondozo. But I actually want to do the damage calc against Tatsugiri because I can't believe close combat one-shot there. So I knew Pawmot was strong, but it was actually a 94% chance to one-shot if they were just 4 HP, 0 defense. Which is crazy! It makes sense because Tatsugiri's HP and defense are actually really low, and I feel like I'm not so used to seeing physical attacks go into Tatsugiri. But wow, I didn't know that it was that high of a chance to get a one-hit knockout. So, oh my goodness, I would say that is easily top 3 craziest games I've had in Series 1, if not the craziest. Like, what an absolute match. But we'll keep things going here. Okay, we've got Annihilape, Indeedee, Armarouge, Torkoal, Sylveon, and Gallade for this one. So Hard Trick Room actually finished second at this tournament, and it lost to in the finals to the Dondozo team. This team is pretty similar. It has, Indeedee, Armarouge, Annihilape plus Torkoal. So how do I want to approach it? They do have Gallade and Sylveon, which is a slight deviation from the team that made it to the finals. Annihilape is scary with Final Gambit. Indeedee obviously pressures with Trick Room. Indeedee Armarouge, I would say, is one of the primary things to look out for. Assault-Vest Dragon, I think, is actually quite solid. We might want to consider bringing that. Pawmot close combat's decent. Murkrow with Quash, not that effective into Indeedee, so I don't think we bring Murkrow. I don't love Pawmot other than for Revival Blessing. I kind of lean towards like a Golden Go lead. Golden Go plus Dondozo? Tatsugiri Dragonite in the back? Basically, Golden Go just like exerts maximum offensive pressure immediately. I don't think Tatsugiri is as helpful as a lead here since they have a fair amount of bulk. Although I guess Tatsugiri's value could be like launching a Draco Meteor off immediately. So, yeah. I think a big thing to think about in this game is who I want to Terra. It's Indeedee Armarouge immediately. Okay. What do I want to do against this? They could Wide Guard Trick Room. I have Specs Power Gem. My problem is like the ability of both of these Pokemon to click Trick Room right now, right? I could just go into Tatsu immediately right now. I don't hate the idea of that personally. Swap in and just Wave Crash. feel like more often than not, NDD is the one clicking Trick Room these days. I'm down to just go for it. I think if they, for example, like Wide Guard or Protect Armor Rouge turn 1 and I just knock out NDD, it's just game over. I think the more likely play is they go for Follow Me into Trick Room, but let's see. Okay. I don't think Pawmot made that much sense here because I can't fake out with them having Psychic Terrain. It's hard to get Revival Blessing off if Trick Room is up. Oh. Well, this also means Trick Room isn't going up, so it's honestly fine, right? Like, we'll just KO NED. Hopefully. That was a crit. I'm not sure if it mattered, but we'll take it. Honestly, denying Trick Room in itself and, like, it just not going up on turn 1 is already pretty good. Oh, they went for Heat Wave. Wow, what? Sweet. I actually think it's going to be very hard for them to win from this angle then. Because the main thing is they just didn't get Trick Room up. You could bring out Torkoal now, of course, which would set up the Sun. You could Terra Armor Rouge, right? Like Dark Terra, Grass Terra. My main question is whether or not Torkoal was clear Smog. But that turn 1 was really solid. Although if I actually just targeted Armor Rouge, it would have been even better. But I've had games where my opponent will go like Protect Armor Rouge, Trick Room NED on turn 1. So, yeah. Torkoal... No, that's Annihilate. I guess you could use that to Final Gambit me, but then you would lose your own Annihilate. I have AV Dragonite in the back, so I actually don't even think that's too bad. I could also Protect here to see, because if you set up Trick Room, then I'll outspeed you under Trick Room with Dondozo, presumably. Yeah, I'm not a Protect here. Let's see what you go for. I guess the only downside is that they were like, I don't know, bulk up Annihilate and they click Trick Room here. Yeah, they were trying to Gambit. Works for me. And they actually just click Expanding Force. I'm okay with that if they go for that again, right? It's a smart play, though. Yeah, because you would actually just pick up the double knockout. That's actually a really nice strategy. But then I just get Golden Go plus Dragonite in for free, and I have Stomping, which is pretty sweet. The main thing is not knowing what Terra this is. This is actually still really scary because of Final Gambit. And that's one of the ways you can deal with Dondozo. Nice job to not click Trick Room there. Yeah, like they're just going to look for the double KO here, right? You go for the double KO, but then I get Dragonite plus Golden Go out. I'm just annoyed at myself because I had the opportunity to knock out the Armor Rouge on turn 1, but I definitely did not expect Helping Hand plus Heat Wave. So we've only seen Heat Wave and Expanding Force so far. Oh, that's not Torkoal. It's Gallade. Oh. Okay. If you have Gallade, I think going Terra Dragonite's fine in this position because of Assault Vest. I just don't know. Like, Gallade could have Focus Sash. Terra Flying is helpful here, though. I want to double up on an Armor Rouge. They could also have Wide Guard with either Mon, so I think I need a Shadow Ball. But I'm leaning towards, like, Terra Blast. I don't know. Doubling is really risky in a position like this when they could protect, but, like, they have not protected with Armor Rouge at all. They're also Terroring first. Gallade. Into Steel Terra. How do I feel about that? I feel fine. Actually, yeah, this is very okay. I mean, I think Dragonite Terroring here in itself is just really... It's in a really powerful position. Okay. Let's see. Well, that was sick. Comes down to what attacks Gallade has, but Gallade's faster than Dry. This was so cool, like their willingness to not commit to the Trick Room mode at all and go with this like hyper fast. Wow, they played this so well. Oh, I actually don't know what does more damage between stomping and low kick. Gallade's not common enough for me to know. Okay, how heavy do I think Gallade looks? I have never had to low kick a Gallade before. Alright, I'm gonna go with Stomping. I think because Stomping into an extreme speed might KO and Psychic Terrain expires after this turn. Oh, they just have Psycho Cut. Oh, that was so cool. They crit me, but I don't think that mattered. Psychic Terrain was up. Wow. Well, I don't mind losing a game like that, but my opponent played that very well. That was so cool. I should have seen the weak armor. Like, I literally just used weak armor Armor Rouge on this channel as well, but I just, yeah, I mean, it's not like I could have done anything to get around that, because Golden Ghost Terra was a Fire Terra, or sorry, Steel Terra anyway, so I would have always just fainted there. We could have won if they missed either Pokemon, potentially, with Heat Wave, but the odds of them hitting both is 81%. Wow. So, I do think if I had just targeted Armor Rouge on turn 1, I would have won this game. I want to say I tunnel vision too hard on them setting up Trick Room, because, like, Trick Room is another mode on that team, right? There's another world in which they just protect Armor Rouge and click Trick Room with NDD on turn 1. But I think, I don't know, Pokemon choice-wise, I don't think I could have really brought much else either. But the way they sequenced that game was, like, beautiful. It was mainly just not expecting Steel Terra, Gallade, with Shadow Sneak into the weak armor, weakness policy, Armor Rouge, but I guess I could have seen that coming, but the only thing I really think I could have done differently substantially in this battle was actually just my turn 1 play of not going for a Wave Crash onto Armor Rouge. If Armor Rouge faints there, then it's NDD, and they have to bring out one of Dondozo and Gallade. Sorry, not Dondozo. One of Gallade or the Annihilate. And if Annihilate comes out, like, sure, yeah, you KO Dondozo, but then my opponent's left with Gallade NDD in the end game, and that's not really that scary. Armor Rouge was really the main scary thing. I just was yeah, I think, like, my fear was kind of silly, because, like, I needed a, like, yeah, basically, if I had just gone Wave Crash onto Armor Rouge, even if they protect and NDD sets up Trick Room on turn 1, what do they do from there, right? Like, helping, like, follow me, Expanding Force. Well, actually, the play would be follow me, Expanding Force, bring out... I was afraid of Torkoal. They didn't even have Torkoal, so that part was what really threw me off. Because I was thinking, oh, how do you beat Dondozo? You're going to go with the Trick Room route. You're going to have Clear Smog on Torkoal. And so I was thinking, okay, you protect Trick Room turn 1. Turn 2, you follow me, Expanding Force, sacrifice NDD. Turn 3, you bring out Torkoal. You go for Clear Smog onto Dondozo and Expanding Force to then maybe KO Dondozo. And then you go from there, basically. So I was trying to do what I could to stop that, basically. But I guess if they had Trick... Like, they definitely didn't have Trick Room on Armor Rouge, right? I mean, we never saw it. I shouldn't say definitely. I mean... The cool thing about that team is the flexibility between both Trick Room as well as the weak armor weakness policy set. But yeah, I think because when I had seen Armor Rouge, especially often on these teams, I expect like Life Orb and just like a little slower and does a lot of damage. And so I was trying to cover for that plus Clear Smog Torkoal, but Torkoal did not even make an appearance. So yeah, that was so cool though. I love seeing that Gallade plus the weakness policy weak armor combo. So I think that was just masterfully planned by my opponent, but there's always no shame losing a game like that. Anyway, I need a break. The games today were absolutely wild, so I hope you enjoyed watching it. This team is really, really strong, and I mean, we're wrapping up Series 1 in just, a few days from when I'm uploading this video. So there's not much time left with Series 1, but it has been very fun, and it was interesting. We used Pawmot in both Game 1 and Game 2 today, and yeah, I think hopefully the game's demonstrated why Pawmot is a regional champion now. So thanks so much as always for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.